Hey everyone, welcome back to the Shocktech series on installation of different Shocktech components. And today's episode, we're going to go over installing pneumatic hose, the microline hose on your front pneumatics. And we want to make this easy for you, so you're not having to kind of guess links and stuff like that. As long as you follow the other videos on how to install the Shocktech pneumatics as a kit, then these links should be pretty much standard. But anyway, you're going to start off, well, let's talk about the tools and equipment you're going to need. You're going to need a pair of diagonal cutters, and these are these really kind of nice ones that make a nice clean cut. A pair of needle nose pliers with some, that's a little grippy there. You may have to take the hoses off. You're going to need some microline hose. You can get this from Shocktech USA. And then I have two pieces here. But you're going to need about 6.5 inches total length. That gives you a little bit longer than what you need. And so if you buy a foot of it, you should have more than enough to do usually two markers. But anyway, for the hose lengths, you can pre-cut these. The shortest length is 1.25 inches, so 1.25. The next length up is 1.75 inches, or 1.75. And the final length is 3 inches. If you do 3.5, it's probably a little long, but the actual is about 3.45 in length. And so those are the kind of lengths you can pre-cut those, or you could just start by putting it on the hose, bending it over, cutting it to fit, and likewise you can do both. But if you kind of want to start with some pre-lengths, as long as it's set up correctly here, this should go on just fine. Now on Shocktech autocockers, they all come with a slider frame. And so we're going to demonstrate the slider frame installation on a 3 O-ring style three-way. And then we'll talk about, or I'll have a diagram up that will show if you're installing this three-way on a, let's say, hinge or any other type of frames, if you need to reconfigure the hoses to operate correctly. But anyway, let's go. Like I said, I've already kind of pre-cut these, and you want to make sure you cut them square. It's to get the best connection on that. And we're going to start off with the back hose, and I find it easier to push it all the way on the front. And let's zoom in if we can a little bit. Push it all the way on, and then right here, I'm just going to bend it over and push it all the way down. It should go all the way flush with that. Then we're going to go with the second hose. I always find it easier to put it on the larger barb first. Then I'm going to curl this around and put it on the smaller barb. Should go all the way flush on the bottom there. Then finally, I do find it easier on the final one, is generally the hose goes on the inside of the LPR hose, the low pressure regulator, the FGP. And then we're going to turn around and we're going to push it into the barb, swivel barb fitting here. And then this is going to go and be tucked like this. So we're going to spin it down. And there should be just enough length that it catches here and it loops over. And that is installation of the Shocktech pneumatic hoses, and that is the correct orientation for a slider frame, a traditional slider frame, or a gunfighter on a 3 O-ring designed bomb tube, which they all are 3 O-ring design. If you are putting this on a hinge frame, the rear hose will need to be moved from the rear barb on the three-way to the front barb on the three-way, and the front barb hose needs to go to the rear barb. You're just reversing it because it's the operation of the hinge reverses the sliding of the three-way shaft. So if you're, like I said, a slider frame, this configuration, well, we'll diagram here. If it's a hinge frame, then you're going to swap basically the front ram and the back ram barb. You're going to swap those hoses over. And if you're working on a hybrid hinge for like an Inception rip frame, then you're going to continue with this. The Inception rip frame is the exception. It's a hybrid hinge, and you would have this configuration. You'd have the slider configuration. Anyway, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more.